find out that God is something that you have to do also to understand where your spouse is coming from. So talk to God first. And you know what? God will give you a creative way and a loving way to approach your spouse. Does that make sense? Okay, number one. Number two, and this was Plakila's comment, ask your spouse for a time where he or she would be ready for a discussion about an area of concern, a good time to talk. I think that's important. Plan a convenient time to talk. Don't just kind of go in and then late in the night like that woman did, Gigi did, right? She found out that was not the good time to talk. It was not the correct time to talk. Find a good time and have a great discussion, because we're going to have something meaningful come out of this conversation. Number three, be precise in communicating the issues. This is also Plakila's point, by the way. I think she should be a marriage counselor. Be precise and concise in communicating the issue. Listen to this one. Avoid dragging in situations and mistakes that happened in the past. Be precise. Talk about what the issue is. Be careful about not having emotional outbursts, facial expressions that convey hate. You're just going to communicate what the issue is. Yeah, without all the emotional outbursts. Number four, this is a good one. This was advice given to me when we were getting married 19 years ago. Listen to this one. Talk to your mate and allow your mate to talk to you. Very simple. We were 19 years ago, when we were getting married, my wife and I were in a certain place, and we spoke to a senior pastor who's now gone home to be with the Lord. It wasn't Dr. Stevens, just another man we really loved and admired. And he said these words to us as we went for premarital preparation and counseling. And he said these great words to us over dinner. He says, when you're angry, talk to your mate. He said, learn to talk in turns. This is what he said, learn to talk in turns. And then he began to explain what that meant, and I never forgot that advice. At that time, 19 years ago, I never thought I would ever get angry with my wife. And she never thought we would get angry with each other. We just never thought that would happen. But over the years, we had to talk in turns many times. Very important. Now listen carefully. Talk in turns. What does that mean? It means that if you've got an issue that is really important to you, that you need to communicate at the right time, sit your spouse down, and this is what you do. You make a commitment. We call it the 3 to 5 minute rule. In other words, I will share with you what I feel, my ideas about this issue for 3 to 5 minutes. And during those 3 to 5 minutes, you can't speak. In other words, no butting in, just listen to my heart. Listen to my heart. I want to communicate everything. And after the 5 minutes is over, now it's your turn to speak. And I follow the same thing. I will listen to your heart about how you feel about that issue. And we go back and forth and back and forth. And if you were upset and you were angry, and if you follow this simple rule, guess what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? You're going to start to understand what your mate really feels about an issue. And oftentimes with that situation, we come up with an idea. I get some thoughts that I never thought about before. It's important to understand that. Now, there's one important thing he said in this rule. He said, when your spouse is talking, you should be listening, not reloading your gun to figure out what's your next argument. Are you following what I'm saying? Some of the single people don't know what I'm saying. This is going way over their heads right now, and that's okay. But listen, you're not trying to reload your gun and try to figure out what I'm going to say next. No, the issue is to get and understand the feelings and how your spouse really feels about an issue. You're going to get to know her heart, and she's going to get to know your heart. And you go back and forth and back and forth. And you know what's going to happen? Sometimes you walk away from the situation and you just haven't had a solution yet. But it's okay. You say, let's discuss this later. I want to talk about this later. It's an important issue. But somehow in the time that you'll have gone away from the situation, God speaks to you. God speaks to you. And oftentimes a great solution has come out of that. God's solution, which is what we wanted in the first place. So, talk to your mate. Very simple, but take turns talking. And that's important. One final, last one, which comes to the 6th commandment that we're talking about today, I believe, or 5th commandment.